Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can start to climb the ladder and get into contracting, especially if you're in your early 20s. Now, a lot of people want to start making money very quickly, and they don't really think about or respect the traditional 9 to 5. But I would argue that the way that many people get into the contracting space is that they're able to be humble and take their time and be patient and actually really sort of like establish themselves within a 9 to 5 career. So what I'd say is the first thing is you don't necessarily need to go to university or anything like that, but if you do, obviously that always helps within the job market. But I would get some entry-level job, whether this is an officer role, a support role, whatever it may be, and do the best that you can within that specific role. The reason I say this is because it humbles you and puts you in a situation where you understand what happens from the ground up. You need to be able to be the person who's working on the ground, boots on the ground, so that when you do get into more senior operational roles, more strategic roles, more leadership roles, you are really confident in terms of the experience and expertise that you have. So when I first started out within this space, this was within the NHS, I was working for the central booking service, literally just pushing letters, sealing envelopes, and sending it around the hospital for about 2 or 3 years or whatever it may be. That's how I started my humble journey. But along that journey, I was developing leadership skills. So these skills look like, again, formulating a small team and knowing how to be emotionally intelligent with them. So this was, again, getting to know them on an informal level, but also a formal level, understanding behavior from different people, and knowing how I respond to different situations as well. It was also a thing for me where I was able to read different policies and strategies. I had no business knowing this stuff, but I wanted to get out of the rat race, so to speak. And so I put myself in a situation where I understood the hospital strategy. I understood what plans were required to make them an excellent provider within their health services. So again, this allowed me to stand out. And naturally what happened, which is the second part, I naturally started to do additional sort of roles, or sort of like was part of groups that weren't specifically part of my role, but were outside of my domain. So this allows you to develop, again, more skills, but allows you to connect with other people as well. So I started to meet people who were service managers. I started to meet people who were assistant general managers or whatever it may be, all because I volunteered my times and really showed my value through the work that I was doing. Again, I was only pushing papers and sealing them and sending letters to different people across the hospital, whatever it may be. But that allowed me to network. That allowed me to speak to people daily, either, secretaries or other support staff or even doctors, to essentially sell myself. I was seen as a likable and friendly guy. I was approachable. I was happy to do work. And that, as you'll hear later on, will give you opportunities if you're in a similar situation. So the second thing is to put yourself in a situation where you sign up for extracurricular stuff on top of your role. Now, the third thing I'd say is think about all of the skills that you're developing and think about where naturally you can go. The reason why you go into an officer role or into a support role is because you want options, okay? You don't want to go into a super hyper niche industry because, yeah, that may make you a lot of money, but that could create a lot of risk as well, in the sense that you may be putting yourself in danger because, let's say, for example, that job doesn't exist in 10 years' time or 5 years' time, whatever it may be, then you may be in trouble. So you want to have some general skills that you can transfer. Usually these general skills are built within some of the following. So administration and organization, you have to have really good admin and organizational skills. Again, project management skills, the basics of it. So this is knowing how to audit or scope work, okay? Just looking at stuff, looking at data, and understanding what people say, or doing surveys or whatever it may be. And then obviously from that, being able to plan your work. So chronologically sequencing the steps required to achieve a specific goal, and then moving into a place of implementation where you actually deliver on this stuff or make sure other people do. And then obviously evaluate the stuff so you can close down the project. The basics of it, though, not knowing the ins and outs, that's not important. It's knowing the basics of it. It's also being very good with analysis and evaluation, namely using things like Microsoft Excel, okay? You don't have to know other things like Access or SPSS or whatever it may be, depending on what sort of industry you're in. However, knowing Excel is very good because you'll realize a lot of people, at least within the public sector, aren't always au fait with the Microsoft suite. So knowing that whole suite is very, very important. So Office 365. And then obviously understanding the basics of emotional intelligence and leadership. So understanding self-awareness, self-management, and then social awareness and social management. In other words, knowing how to recognize your own emotions and knowing how to manage those, but also being in a situation where you can observe things and respond to different people accordingly. So that's essentially what you need to do. So moving on from that, once you start to develop these different skills, you may get opportunities to actually do different sort of like programs or courses that may level up your skills. So these may be basic. Usually you'll see things around Prince 2 or Agile or Prince Agile or MSP or change management or even coaching and mentoring, whatever it may be. Just use the opportunities. I know there is an apprenticeship levy, or at least a levy that needs to be used within organizations. So if there is money within your team, really contact your lead or your director, whatever it may be, and see if there is an opportunity for you to develop within that space. Now, usually they would want you to, again, gain skills that are relevant to the specific thing you're doing. And this is why I said it's best that you do something general, okay? Even if you're a mid-manager, whatever it may be, there may be a management or leadership course that you could do. So see how your organization can help you. If you've saved up enough money, and this is what you would essentially do, obviously, as you're building your skills, building your experience in these more junior roles, you want to be in a position where you're saving your monies, then you could put that money towards some sort of courses or programs that may help you. And again, you can check out my LinkedIn for some ideas if you want to move in a similar direction, okay? So once you sort of like started to build your skills, you're looking for different qualifications and stuff, you want to be in a position where it is so undeniable for you not to at least get a promotion or apply for a new role. And this is where you have to be very good at understanding what you specifically do. So get into a position where you've developed your CV in such a way where it looks like a project, okay, from start to finish. And you need to be able to use adjectives, so describing words, and adverbs, so like doing words, so to speak, or describing doing words, so to speak, in relation to what you do. You also want to highlight things that you've improved, okay? So you're using specific words that highlight benefits like increased or decreased or enhanced or improved or eliminated, whatever it may be. Show percentages by 50%. Show monetary values, 50,000. I was holding a budget of 1.2 million or whatever it may be. All of these different things make you stand out. So if you need support with this, the best thing to do is to either maybe get ChatGPT to help you out, or you can go to services like CV, Purple CV, that's what it's called, Purple CV. You can check out the link below for more information on that as well, because they do a sterling job in terms of having a really succinct sort of like CV that represents you. So really get good at developing a good CV and or cover letter and supporting statement, okay? These things are really important. Now, it's not about lying. It's about putting yourself in a situation where you are using language that aligns to the role that you want to get into. So if you're a project support officer, you want to be able to classify and highlight that you are doing project management stuff. This is why I spoke about the whole scoping, planning, implementation, evaluation, and closing, okay? So you need to be au fait with that language. And so thinking about this stuff, naturally, if you've got a CV and supporting statement, you want to be able to practice different interview questions. So the way you do this is to, number one, check out the role that you're actually looking to apply for and check the specification, and then develop questions from that. You can do that manually, or again, you can use ChatGPT to help you do this, or you can get somebody within the field who can support you within this space. Now, it's good to talk to people who are within this space so you can connect with them in your current place of work, or you can go to LinkedIn and do this as well. How does this all link to contracting? Well, whether you do this in a year, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, you would have built up enough solid experience for the end client to believe that you have the skills and expertise to move into the space. That's the aim of the game. And usually people have at least 5 years experience before they move into something. And even 5 years may not be enough for some people. The other alternative, assuming you've gone down this whole route, you've done things, properly, whatever it may be. And this is good, by the way, because this gives you real confidence. And to me, real confidence is experience. Have an experience where you've done things again and again and again, not just because you're trying to hit a goal or an aim, but because you've actually done this thing. Then why wouldn't you be able to move into the contracting space within a specific field? It's going to be simple. It's going to be easier. The alternative, and I know there's a friend of a friend who has done this. Essentially, you can start applying for contracts in junior roles if you want to, and you may be lucky with more mid-level roles, and people give you a chance, okay? Obviously, you need to be able to present to them some of the stuff I said before when it comes to your CV and everything else. Of course, you need some experience, but even if you don't have much experience, you can start out on junior roles, and you'd still be making more than those specific roles within a permanent 9-to-5, okay? I'm not going to quote figures. If you want to check figures out yourself, you need to go to something like CV Library or Read, check the contracting sort of section, and then see what sort of day rates pop up. You want a day rate, you don't want an hourly rate. Sometimes you just need some sort of path in. So essentially that may be okay. So hopefully this gives you some ideas in terms of how you should start thinking about moving within the space, especially if, again, you're in you're a late teen or you're an early 20s person and you want to move into contracting eventually so that you can start this whole sense of independence, develop these entrepreneurial skills, but also be a professional as well and establish and make the income that you'd like to make so it can be tailored towards whatever you want to tailor it towards. Right now, I'm living it up with my partner in Kenya right now, all because of the fact that we've been able to, again, gather the monies, not only just from contracting, but other endeavors as well. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some sort of big shot or whatever it may be, but I'm getting to the space that I want to get to. So hopefully you want to see more videos like this, tailored around portfolio career development, or even life management. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.